Welcome back to the series. Today we're talking about responsibility, ending the blame culture in boys. A boy doesn't become a man the day he turns 18. Because that's just too easy, right? He becomes a man the moment he stops blaming everyone else and actually starts taking responsibility and ownership of his choices. And that's where the challenge begins. You see, many boys today are growing up in a culture where responsibility is, optional and excuses are unlimited. I strongly believe that if schools want better behavior, better effort, and better engagement, responsibility can't just be enforced as punishment. It has to be taught as a mindset. Because when boys lack confidence, they protect themselves the only way they know how to, by shifting the blame to someone else. Oh, well, it wasn't me. Everyone else was doing it. I didn't know. Or here's a really common one that boys like to use. I forgot. You see, blame oftentimes can feel safe. Responsibility, on the other hand, forces a boy to look inward instead of outward, everyone else. And that's uncomfortable, especially when a boy hasn't yet developed a strong sense of identity. I can relate with this because I was like this in high school myself. But here's the truth, we need to name it clearly. Responsibility is not about shame, but it's about maturity. And maturity always begins with ownership. Now, here's why this has become harder than ever before. Look at the world our boys are growing up in. There is instant gratification. There is minimal discomfort. Look at Uber Eats, man, like all about comfort. There is low accountability. Think about the messages online they absorb each day. If a game gets hard, just restart the whole thing, right? If a conversation gets uncomfortable, peace out, way out. Bye, Felicia. If a behavior gets corrected, we argue. You see, none of this makes boys bad, but it does make responsibility to them unfamiliar. And when responsibility is unfamiliar, boys avoid it. Not because they don't care, but because they haven't been trained for it. That's why schools can no longer assume that boys they'll just get it. Or responsibility now has to be taught deliberately, like a subject. You see, when responsibility is taught the right way, something powerful happens. In our Boys to Noble Men programs that we run in schools, we teach one simple but life-changing principle. You cannot control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you respond and who you become because of it. That mindset shift can change so much. It can move a boy from asking, why is this happening to me, to them now asking, what can I do next? I had one school say this to me after a term of our program. They mentioned how there was a massive shift in the boys. They stopped making excuses in the classrooms whenever they got in trouble, and they started to take responsibility, be accountable, and also started to make decisions that would actually better their behavior outcomes. That's what's possible when we take our boys on a journey, not to shame, but to teach them around becoming responsible young men. If there's one thing that I can share, that is that leadership starts with self. You see, before boys can lead others, they must learn to lead their impulses, their habits, their tone. Self-leadership, I believe, is the foundation of all leadership. And schools that apply this principle consistently don't just see a change in a few boys, they see a behavior lift across classrooms and year levels. And here's what many people miss. When responsibility is framed correctly to our boys, it doesn't feel heavy, it actually feels empowering. Boys want to feel capable. They want to feel trusted. They want to know that their actions matter. When schools call boys to responsibility, I believe, and I've seen time and time again, that boys can actually rise to the occasion. So if your school wants young men who take ownership of their behavior, their learning, their leadership, responsibility must be taught deliberately, not reactively. And this is exactly why the Boys to Noble Men program exists. So if your school or organization is looking to raise responsible young men, I'd love to partner and come alongside you in that journey. So together we can raise a generation of responsible young men who become leaders in our society and help move our society forward.